Simon. I'll be talking to you about Selenium. So what is Selenium? Selenium is basically a web automation tool. It uses something called a web driver. It's an application unique to Selenium, and it uses Selenium libraries to basically automate any web browser for whatever you may need it for. It is also a chemical element that treats mercury poisoning. I just included this because I thought it was a funny story. So there is something called a Mercury Interactive application, which is also another automation tool. It lacked some functionality, and the people that were disgruntled by it created Selenium to cure mercury poisoning. So the most popular uses of Selenium is for testing and automation of web browsers and web applications. It's supported by most of our popular web browsers: Chrome, Internet Explorer, Firefox, Opera, Safari. So how does this all work? Selenium provides Selenium libraries to code with. They support all your popular programming languages: Java, Ruby, Python, JavaScript. There's also third-party support for Perl, R, and some of the lesser common languages. And they use the WebDriver application, which is unique to every web browser, so Chrome, Internet Explorer, what have you. It uses this WebDriver and whatever web browser you're using to use the native commands to navigate through the web browser. So if you're using Chrome, it'll use Chrome native commands to actually navigate through, like forward pages, back pages, looking up the XPath, which is my next topic. So the way this works is you mainly would use XPathing, which is the XML addresses to each web application or web element. So if you've got a link or some kind of like description, picture, anything on a website, it has an XML or XPath to it, which is an address to it. And you could use this with JUnit testing libraries to test. So if you go to a web page, if you want to see if a certain link is available, you would use that XPath to that link to see, to test if it's available. If true, then yes. If not, false, obviously, and generate a report in that manner. So to use this in Selenium, because you're the one coding it, it's really flexible on its utility. It depends what you coded it to be used for. So some of the uses, like I mentioned, is automated testing. If you have a web application with hundreds of test cases, and you've got like 2 or 3 different web servers, you're going to be needing to run those tests 200-300 times or so. And say you've got a web developer that makes a change to your website, and you want to test those cases. You want to see if your website is working for all your users. And so you run all these hundreds of tests or whatever. And now your web developer makes a fix to a bug that you discovered, and he makes another change. Now you can run those tests all over again. So that's what Selenium fixes. As long as you program all your test cases in one batch, you can just run it automatically over and over to make sure that it works. Another use is web application monitoring. So if you have a web application that users hit often, you could put it on a time-based process. So say you have a application that processes CAD designs or whatever. You can program a Selenium process to create a document or a design process and run it through its paces to make sure everything is working. There's no errors, that pretty much everything is going. And because you programmed it, you can also make it self-cleaning. So if you made a test document or test part, it can also delete that document or part as well. I've seen some information gathering processes using Selenium. So say you're trying to make a data set that's not otherwise available anywhere else. You can navigate to these websites, and it'll go page by page by page, scraping information from each page, putting it into a CSV or a text file, and creates a robust data set. There's also load testing. So in the previous example of automated testing, you could create a process that creates a